Okay, so what's in the sky? Late February, early March. Good afternoon, people. Greetings, Earth creatures. Today, I'm going to talk very formulaically. These talks follow a specific script. So tonight we're on the lands of the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I'm going to talk about, very briefly, general conditions at this time of year. Then I'm going to talk about the usual things: where's the moon, what the planets are doing, where to get yourself orientated in the evening. And then I'll talk about suggested targets for tonight, and visual and photographic. And then I'll talk about 5 a.m. tomorrow, and I might talk a little bit about an asteroid, and then I'll look forward to this this month. Okay, so general conditions at this time of year, very high up on the wall there. We're starting to get our night back. It's mostly seen in the mornings. Jan and I like to have breakfast out in the backyard, and it's actually dark out there now. We like to go out there at Pluto time, but it's actually before Pluto time at the moment. So now February seeing is intensely problematic. If you go out, we'll probably be in the domes tonight. Have a good close look at the nearly full moon, and it will be very, very swimmy tonight. Because the heat is going to be all those little micro lenses. That's fine. Sunset is about 25 past 8, and next month that's going to be 7:45. So we're going to get a chunk back there. Sunrise 6:45 a.m. Next month it's going to be another half hour, so it's 7:15 a.m. So that's getting quite good. For the younger astronomers, don't get grumpy. The start of the school year is a trying time for kids as well as parents. Let's perhaps leave the stargazing for the weekend, because teachers get a bit grumpy if you fall asleep in their classes. My wife is a teacher. So now, for the loonies, there's the moon. I'm going to move out of the way a little bit. Okay, so the full moon is tomorrow. It's Thursday the 13th. It's going to move back into the south over the next week, which means it's going to get higher in the sky. I noticed that space.com or somebody was talking the other day about how the Earth is, the moon is really, really high in the sky at the moment. You'll notice it's like, the southern hemisphere does exist. It's about 70% of its distance away in its arc, so it's a moon. Over the following week, it's going to be waning gibbous, as it always is after a full moon. The last quarter is on Friday the 21st, and it's going to be deep into the south now, which is which one's the lunar declination? It's that one, so it's going to be deep in the south up there. So over the following week, it rises at midnight, sets at noon. Over the following week, after that, it'll be a waning crescent. So it means it's going to get thinner and harder to see as it gets closer to the sun. You view it in the morning and later this week in the early afternoon, and then before sunrise. That's what last quarter and the week following a last quarter always does. The new moon is on Friday the 28th, which is just in time for the Messier star party. So everybody, let's all go up to the LMDSS. It's close to the sun, meaning it does not bother the astrophotographers amongst us at all, and you'll be able to see it in a few days as a waxing crescent, that lovely, lovely little thin crescent after sunset. There is a near solar eclipse on the 28th. That's solar eclipse is when the declination of the sun and the moon are at the same time as a new moon. As you can see, it's not quite vertical there, so it's close but no cigar. First quarter is on the Friday the 7th of March, and I'm not going to go into all of that, but it's going to be deep into the north, which means it's low in the sky, or as Space Little Cobham would say, it'll be very high in the sky. So, planets over the next month. These come from the ASV yearbook. Mercury is an evening object. You won't really see it. It doesn't get out of the twilight until the end of March, and by that time it'll be a morning object. Venus, this is a photograph I took through the Troughton and Sims with my phone the other day of Venus. It's an evening object. It's going into the twilight. It's probably very hard to get much of a view on, but it's started to dive. It's very dark, very bright. Its greatest illumination is on the 15th but it'll be gone by mid-March. The only thing that Venus does of any interest is the fact that it turns into a crescent sometimes. Venus is boring as batshit. Mars, much more interesting. Thank you, George Schwab, for the photograph. Is visible for most of the night. It's just past its opposition now. Viewing is still okay, even though this year the declination of, this opposition, the declination of Mars has been very high, which means it's been great for the Northern Hemisphere brethren. However, not so great for us. We're looking through so much atmosphere that we're not getting great Mars shots from here. Yeah. Jupiter sets soon after 1 a.m, but it's still good evening viewing, and that's a nice photograph by Andrew. That's a very nice photograph. A bit of great red spot there. Saturn is pretty much gone for the season. You probably can pick it out of the glare of the sunset at the moment, but the rings are closing on the 23rd of March. That's after the conjunction, so you will actually be able to see that. I'm kind of interested to see that. You can see a completely naked Saturn. It'll be a morning object by that time, and apparently just out of the twilight. So it's going to be very cool, because Saturn is not only going to be edge on, but also the Sun is edge on to or almost edge on to the rings, which means that it's not even going to cast a shadow of the rings onto Saturn. So it's just Saturn's going to look like Venus. Uranus is setting ahead of Jupiter just after midnight. So it's still not very far from the Pleiades. It's sort of moving that way. Yeah, you obviously need a big telescope to see Uranus. Neptune, similar sort of telescope. It's in the twilight along with Venus and Saturn, so it's setting very early. A bit hard to find. It does set before 10 p.m. I think you'd probably be fairly lucky to see it, but it's going to hang around with Saturn. And Pluto is now a morning object. It rises about 5 a.m. just before twilight. So there are your planets. Okay, so let's get orientated, shall we? I usually start with the Southern Cross. There it is. It's at about 9 o'clock on the dial there. That's the dial, the South Celestial Pole in the middle. Let's get rid of that. So we've got the Southern Cross, and we've got our other current signpost constellation. Orion is just past the meridian. This is for 10 p.m. So it's probably not actually quite past the meridian at the moment, but it'll get there quickly. Orientation stars. We've got. Let's bring our little dial back, because we've got Canopus, which precedes the cross, and then Achernar, which is opposite the cross. Now, the one that you'll probably see the easiest is Sirius. It's fairly close to zenith. It's just past Canopus on the other side of the zenith. It's very, very bright, and you can kind of see it because Rigel and Betelgeuse are fairly, not very far away. Aldebaran is on the other side of Orion, as it is always. You'll notice that it is yellow if you have a good look at it. It's also very close to Jupiter just at the moment, so people might get the two of them mixed up if they're not careful, but it's fairly easy to tell the difference. Fomalhaut is getting very low in the southwest. Castor and Pollux are around, so they're easy to spot because they're so close to each other. Also look for Mars, so they make a nice little triangle there. Regulus is coming up, and it's rising in the east-northeast. So obviously that moon's going to get out of the way pretty quickly. Planets at the moment. Not an awful lot going on in the early evening. Mars is there, and Jupiter is also fairly bright. The other ones, as I spoke about before. Okay, so for the visual astronomers amongst us, I'm increasingly becoming a visual astronomer since my new eyes are working. This is the sky at night, 10 p.m. facing south. Venus is kind of gone. That's the reason why it gets a little red circle there. 47 Tuc is doing fairly well there. You need a bit of aperture to see that, but in a dark sky stage you can see it naked eye. It's fairly easy to spot. Pieridani, one of my favourites, cat's eyes. It's very, very easy to find because it's just 1 degree off Acamar, so it's very easy to see. You can see it in your phonoscope. The Tarantula Nebula is right on the, well, at 10 p.m. anyway, it's right on the meridian, so relatively easy to spot. If you're in a dark sky site, again, you can see it hanging off the side of the Large Magellanic Cloud there. Pleiades is still around. It's starting to get a little bit late in the Pleiades season, but they're still around, so it's always worth a look. The Orion area, obviously there's a great nebula. Sigma Orionis is a quad system, which is right in the middle there. It's actually quite nice. And the trivia of the day: Sigma Orionis is the thing that lights up that hydrogen alpha region behind the Horsehead. So if we didn't have Sigma Orionis, we wouldn't see the Horsehead. Obviously, there's also the Flame Nebula. If you've got a decent-sized dob, you could have a go at that. It's right next to what's the name of the star in the Alnitak. Thank you. It's the star that everyone wants to turn off. So have a go at that one too. Obviously, there's Jupiter and Mars, and Castor is a double, so you can have a go at that. You need a fair amount of magnification to be able to split that, but it's well worthwhile, particularly if you've got the Troutman Sims, which is a morally superior telescope. There's also Southern Albireo, which is, I think, probably my favourite double. It's actually it's not actually a double. It's an optical double, but they've got very different colours, so it's really nice to have a look. And you can talk about if you happen to be taking a tour, you can talk about temperatures of telescopes of stars. Finally, you can start noodling about in the crosses area. If you've got a Dobsonian, it's always great to wander around, and there's so much going on just in that area there. There's nebulas and multiple stars and clusters and all sorts of bits and pieces. There's even a planetary in there, around about there. So yeah, have fun with that. Okay, that's enough of that. So photographic targets, I've shamelessly ripped these off the ASV Facebook pages. So thanks and apologies to a whole pile of people. The Tarantula Nebula, it's actually one of my own. The Tarantula Nebula is quite nice. This is from the remote observatory, which is getting there. Pleiades. This is Eddie Peng. I said last month that no presentation is complete without an Eddie Peng photograph. I've got 2 of them here. So M45 is very nice. There's lots and lots of nebulosity around that. Crab Nebula isn't that great. That's a great shot by Eddie. So the Crab Nebula is I don't know. We're just talking about this very recently, I suspect. Anyway, in the Orion Nebula, we've got the Orion nebula, the Orion area, the nebula itself. We've got the Witchhead Nebula, which is too big for most telescopes, but Minas has obviously got a short focal length there going on, and obviously the Horsehead and the Flame. I'm not going to talk anything about this photograph here because it was taken by an utterly insignificant person. So we've also got Herschel's Ray, which is otherwise known as a Pencil Nebula, which is kind of cute. It's a test image I got from a dome just the other day. And hang on, wrong button. There you go. Rosette Nebula. It's a hydrogen alpha photograph. Rosette is also very large. You need a short focal length to be able to get that. That one is actually a mosaic. Carina Nebula, it's Carina season, or it's coming up to Carina season. It's pretty good from now on, particularly at 10 p.m. because it's going to do that over the course of the evening. So as long as your meridian flip is tamed out, right, you should be able to get like 10 hours on that or something. So that'll be quite nice. I don't know where I picked that photograph up from. Apologies to whoever it was. Diamond cluster. It's always nice to have a cluster in here. I should have got I saw a fantastic photograph by a Canberra astronomer, James Bagley, the other day, taken with one of one of our telescopes. Just beautiful star colours. I think it was the diamond cluster. As you can see, I'm colourblind. I don't calibrate stars very well. Most of those stars, these stars are not actually green. I'm sorry to inform you, but James's was beautiful, and thank Elon for that. That was just the final thing. All right. So tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., if you happen to be getting up, if you happen to be one of those kids, one of those people with kids or dogs, the Southern Cross has passed the meridian now at 5 a.m. So it's good cross time. So like get up at 4 o'clock and you'll be able to get some quality time with that. Also, of course, there's the galactic core there. Orion has gone, which means that Scorpius is getting high in the sky. That's our third signpost galaxy, signpost stars. Planets, not an awful lot. Pluto is just about it, and it's only just there. So in the mornings, Pluto is your only companion. Guess what time of year it is, guys? T Corona Borealis is nearly back. It's out from behind the sun. It's not actually out from behind the trees at LMDSS. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it before late this month, so probably means it's going to go on the 27th. Anyway, so yes, it's back. I will try to get a shot of it, but as you can see, the light curve over the last 12 months, it's been doing its usual thing. It's a binary pair, so it does that. You can't read it, but this scale here goes from, I think, around about 10 up to about 0 or something like that. When it goes off, it's going to be about 2, so it's going to be sort of up here. So it's going to be a big jump in brightness. You will be able to see it with your naked eye. It's about the same as, say, Alnitak, the star that I forgot before. So that is about it for the sky. This is not, well, this is in the sky at the moment. It's going away from us, but 2024 YR2 hit the news the other day. So yes, it's an Apollo-class asteroid, which means it goes between Mars and Jupiter and Earth and Venus. It crosses the orbit of the Earth. The orbit inclination is fairly similar. It's only 3 and a bit degrees away from the Earth's orbital inclination. It's between 40 and 100 meters in diameter, which makes it sort of a big rock. It has a 4-year orbit, and so it's going to, well, last time it came closest to us last Christmas Day. Next time it's going to be 17th of December 2028. But there's a very near encounter on the 22nd December 2032. Now, what we're building to, there's a 98% chance it's going to miss us. Probably further than Apophis is going to go. Now, Apophis, when it comes past in April 2028, I think, might be 2029, I can't remember. It's going to be, Apophis is going to go inside the orbit of the geostationary satellites, so that is really close. So YR2 probably won't be that close, but they're not actually sure. They've been recalculating 3 times now in the last week. That chance of a miss has been decreasing. It's still on about 97.5%. They reckon that with a bit of a bit more observation, they'll probably be able to confirm that it's going to miss us. So probably no impact. However, if it does happen to intersect Earth, it probably won't. Well, all of it as a chunk won't hit the ground. There won't be a big impact crater. It's going to be more of an airburst. Well, that airburst is probably something like 7 or 8 megaton nuclear weapon. So that's going to devastate an area of around about 50 kilometres in diameter. So don't be there. The good news is that, well, I kind of feel a bit bad about this, but look, Now, all of the rich white people in this area here are going to be having a holiday around about here, I suspect, or possibly up there. Yes. So at the closest point, the asteroid will not be visible from Australia. It's going to be on the other side of the Earth. So for us, there are two conclusions. First of all, you're going to have an excellent opportunity for observing it on the 22nd of December 2032. Hopefully, you'll get another excellent opportunity for an observation on the day after, as it's going away from us. So that's really all I have to say about YR2. So, bit of random observations. Venus's great illuminated extent, that's the brightest bit, is on the 15th of February, which is like 3 days away. So keep an eye out for that. Well, it's going to look pretty much the same as it does tonight. 24th of February, Mars is stationary. The retrograde is ending. That probably officially means that the opposition is over and Mars is going away from us. Venus is stationary, starting its retrograde, but because it's an inferior planet, closer planet to the, not morally inferior, it's just an inferior planet. The retrograde doesn't actually mean an awful lot for visual astronomers. The Messier Star Party is on the 1st and the 2nd of March, so be there or be somewhere else. Corona Borealis, watch out for a sudden bright star. It's going to be low in the northeast in the mornings. That's about it. That's really all I have to say. So there you go.